Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So you may have seen my recent video that we did the Bookpage journal cards that were inspired by Maremi SmallArt. And what I would like to do is come back and do some more of those kinds of things, this time using, and I've got here my large images. Now, as you can see, these are, you know, my large images, which are normally just like 2 to a page, so they're normally massive, but I've printed 4 pages to 1 page. So they're now going to be obviously, you know, kind of the size that's going to fit on here. I also did print them 2 to a page, which we may use some of those, depending on kind of which, you know, which look we're going for really, whether we want them sort of bigger, you know, bigger or sort of smaller. So I've got those. Now I've also brought along my acrylics. I still haven't been and treated myself to those, you know, bargain ones at the range. Just, you know, I haven't been in there. So, yeah, I've got these are my Daler Rowney acrylic paints. I've had these for a long time. Now, these, obviously, they're quite concentrated. And to be honest, you know I said this in the last video. I mean, I'm not brilliant with paints. You know, I don't probably know properly how to use them or mix them or anything like that. But, you know, I'm not here to be giving a tutorial as to, you know, how to use paints or anything like that, because I'm just putting that out there because obviously I, you know, often get comments which, you know, sometimes are really helpful and I really do appreciate that. But, you know, sometimes kind of just people kind of, you know, sort of telling me off, I don't know, because I don't have good brushes and things like that. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about creating the journal cards, and all I'm doing is purely, you know, working with what I do have, which is these, and we are just making some journal cards from book pages. So, you know, I'm not going to get bogged down as to, you know, do I have the right paints? Am I using the right brush? Do I know how to mix my paints? You know, no, I don't, is the answer. You know, I probably am doing things wrong, but what I'm trying to do is just kind of, you know, create a little bit of inspiration, and maybe as well, you know, for people who like me, you know, maybe they would like to do things like this, but maybe they also don't really have kind of the knowledge of how to use things, you know, these types of things. And, you know, I guess what I'm trying to say is, just because, you know, you're not a painter, you don't know how to mix your paints, doesn't mean that you can't still do this. Obviously, you might find it frustrating. You might, you know, like now, I've obviously mixed in way too much white to the pink, so now my pink's completely lost in there. But I don't mind. It's just having fun at the end of the day. You know, that's all we're doing, is kind of doing some nice things. And as we've said before, it's all about the finished result. And to be honest, if the finished result looks gorgeous, that's good enough. You know, for me, I think, well, that's good enough. You know, the finished result looks lovely. Who cares? Who cares how the process kind of went? So, yeah, I'm just putting that out there because, you know, I know that people do kind of sometimes get irritated when I'm not doing things properly, you know, in the correct way. And, you know, I apologise if that is the case, and you find it really annoying. But on the other side, I think there's probably a lot of us out there who would like to kind of play around with paints and things, don't perhaps have the know-how, and all I'm doing is trying to give, you know, an alternative to, you know, having to have all the right stuff. So, yeah, just kind of hopefully showing that, you know, anything goes, really. You don't have to, you know, go out and buy a bunch of stuff. You can just use things that you do have. You might, you know, you might not have these paints, but you might have some other paint that you could use. You know, you might have leftover household paint, and that too would be absolutely fine to use. You know, I don't think you should get bogged down with, you know, having to have the right materials. I think, you know, you can use generally what you have and probably achieve just gorgeous results anyway. So, I mean, doesn't that look lovely? You know, and as you can see, I mean, oh my goodness, I couldn't really be much more simple with my, you know, my painting methods. I mean, I've taken a big, this is like a household paintbrush, you know, and I'm just literally dragging it on there. You know, let's try and mix it up and do something a bit more creative and see if we can kind of like stipple the brush. Again, you know, I maybe will not make a good job of that. but that's fine. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. So I might mix some blue in here so that we're getting, you know, a mix of colours going on. Again, don't know. You know, this might look gorgeous. It might look rubbish. It doesn't matter. Okay, so let's just mix that in. Okay, and now I'm just going to stipple it on here. I mean, this brush, in hindsight, a bit too big really for the stippling, you know, but it's okay. I don't mind it, you know. I mean, maybe that kind of works as a first, you know, first effort application to kind of like apply your paint. And then actually what you probably could do is just take a wipe, not sure whether wet or dry, but then kind of like smoosh it in a bit more with the wipe. I mean, that's quite nice, isn't it? Just to get some different kind of effects going on. Obviously I have lost the purple now really, but you know, it's quite pretty, isn't it? I've got to be honest, I probably prefer the dragged effect. I think that, you know, that worked better, but you know, I just thought we'd try something different and see how it looks. So I'm just wiping the table down between, so that hopefully I don't get it all over my other pages on the backs. Shall we take one more? Oh, is this? No, I think this is different. Is this different? Yeah, different colour blue. So yeah, completely different shade of blue. Might have to put a bit more white in because the last one was pretty strong, wasn't it? Pretty strong. Okay, I'm just going to put some more water down, just to hopefully kind of wash them out a little bit. Okay. Oh my goodness, I mean, how gorgeous are these colours? Loving these colours. Yummy, yummy. Yeah, they look gorgeous, don't they? So yeah. And, you know, like in the last one, I still want to have plenty of the book page showing. So that's why I'm kind of not covering the entire book page. I'm still trying to keep, you know, plenty of it visible. So let me just wipe this down and we'll just do the last one. Now I'm just wondering whether we want to add any other colour. Maybe a little bit of green. What do we think? Because otherwise they're all a bit the same, aren't they? So yeah, let's add a little bit of green. Okay. A little bit, hopefully. Oh no, that one's never been opened before. Thought, well, that's weird why it's not coming out. There we go, that would be why. Come on. Okay. I mean, another thing that you could do, I suppose, and you know, I'm not doing it because obviously I'm doing a video, but what you could do is kind of like paint your first coat in one colour, let it dry, and then do another coat in another colour. I mean, that would be another way to get some other versatile kind of looks going on, wouldn't it? You know, like I say, I'm not going to do that because obviously I'm doing a video, but that would be another thing to play with and, you know, experiment around with. So just going to, yeah, dust that down there. Okay. Like that. Right, okay. So going to quickly dry those off and then come back. So I'm going to clean the table off and dry them off and then we'll come back. So hold on. Okay, so I'm back. They are drier. They're not perfect, but they're dryish, you know. Now I have to say, this stippled one, not really loving it. You know, thought I would try something different. Don't really like the finished effect. I much prefer the dragged effect. But, you know, hopefully we'll kind of like cover it up and disguise it. And, you know, it will become kind of, you know, an acceptable piece. So let's have a look and see what we want to do. So I've got these roses, which I absolutely love, love, love. So, yeah, let's take one here. Now, these yellow ones I have in this kind of more dulled down yellow, and I also, you get the brighter shade. I'm going to use the brighter ones, I think. And I'm just going to take one of these butterflies. So these were the ones that were printed two to a page. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking start with those. Let me just double check. Start with those, yep. And should we have... Because otherwise I'm thinking, oh, they're all floral. Maybe we should have a typewriter or a boot. let's see how we get on, to be honest. I probably am being way over ambitious thinking I'm going to achieve all this anyway. So I'm going to try and kind of like kiss cut this, and you know, and I say this all the time, but kiss cutting is where you kind of like leave a bit of a white border around the edge. Not brilliant at kiss cutting, it's got to be said, but yeah, I mean, it's probably just a case of practice, you know, and I don't very often kiss cut things, although I do seem to be doing a bit more recently, you know, because I actually quite like that look, but I just don't necessarily like it when I do it because I'm not really very good at it. But like I say, if I did it more, perhaps I would improve. So just go around there. Oh gosh, this is not a great one, is it, to be kiss cutting here? Probably, yeah, probably would have cut those little bits off had I been close fussy cutting this, but anyway, I'm sure it's fine. So I hope everyone's having a good day. I hope you're doing some crafting, having a nice time. Oh my goodness, the sun is shining here. It's gorgeous. Absolutely lovely day. I took my daughter to the school, you know, walked around to the school, took Bo with us on the walk. And yeah, it was lovely. A little bit cold wind, it's got to be said, but I mean, obviously that was quite early. So I've been back now about 40 minutes. So I mean, hopefully it's going to be, you know, improving. Hopefully by the time I go and get her later, it will be like full on gorgeous, sunny, hot, well, not hot, but you know, lovely warm day. So, and I know I say this all the time, but I'm just putting it out there. I do feel my head. So yep, if it's either, you know, roasting hot summer's day, or, you know, who knows, maybe it will be so long until this goes out, it will be winter again. I'm filming this in the spring. So yes, that's what's going on here. I'm not just making it up. So just, again, just, you know, kiss cut this one. Okay. Love this colour. It's a sort of corally red. It's not like a Christmas red, what I would call a Christmas red, which, you know, to me, I feel like a Christmas red is like a true bright red, you know. This is more like got hues of coral in it. Very, very, very pretty. Very pretty colour. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm having a fingers and thumbs day yet again today, so I'm just going to apologise for that. Honestly, just, oh, seem to just get those, and you know, there's nothing you can do about that. Just have clumsy days, you know, where you're just like, oh my goodness. Maybe it's an age thing, I'm not sure. But yeah, not great. Mind you, I went to the gym this morning before obviously taking my daughter, you know, to school. And oh, I clearly need to up my workouts because I couldn't get in the door. It's got like an outer door, and then once you get in that door, you then have to like put your code in to go through like a, not a revolving door, but a kind of lockable type door, you know, to gain you access to the gym. And I couldn't even open the outer door. I thought, well, that's weird. And there was two other ladies there about to go in, and I looked at them, I said, oh. And luckily there was a man just coming out. So I said, oh, we'll have to wait for him, and he'll, you know, have to kind of buzz us in. Oh, well. I then just literally, as he was walking towards the door, I thought, I'll just try pushing it one more time. Oh, it flung open. I just laughed. I said to them, oh, well, clearly my workouts are paying off well, aren't they? They probably thought, oh my goodness, yes, you need to, you know, up your game of whatever it is you're doing, because it's not working. Right, loving those like that. Let's just do the butterfly. The butterfly, I'm not going to kiss cut it. I'm going to just, you know, fussy cut around it. Now this butterfly, the chances are, is not going to fit on the journal card. Plus, to be honest, it's going to look strange because it would be, you know, even if it does fit, it's going to be small in the middle, if you see what I mean. You know, because it's obviously wider rather than tall. And these are kind of portrait pieces. But I'm going to just cut it down, and then, you know, we might play around with it where we kind of like cut it in half, have it off the side or something like that, because I really love doing that with the butterflies. You know, I think they look really nice when they're just cut in half and kind of like hanging off the side. And that will balance it out a bit, so, you know, it won't be so uneven, if you see what I mean. Like if I put it there, it feels a little bit unbalanced, although to be honest, not half as bad as I thought it might look. But I could have it more going off at the side, although to be honest, then that looks a bit small, doesn't it? Right, that's probably all we're going to have time for anyway, so probably I won't even get time for that one. Right, okay, so I've got these two. So I'm thinking, yeah, do some sort of pretty stamping. Now, we did use our corner stamps, didn't we, in the last one, which I know is really boring, but I love a corner stamp. I just really do love using a corner stamp. Yeah, I don't know why, but it just really like it. And I always have. I loved corner stamps, you know, when I was doing scrapbooking, loved it when I was doing card making, you know, anywhere that I can use a corner. Right, I'm now looking to see if I've got any form of cleanish block. And of course I don't have. No, I don't. That's really annoying. Okay. Oh, I'm still needing to buy some blocks. Oh, but I have got this actually, which now I'm thinking this would be a different look from using the corner stamps, which we used last time. So I feel that's, you know, a little bit dull to just kind of use a corner stamp as well, again. So yeah, might have those. Now, let me pull in some of my Stay-Ons. I was super lucky to be treated a bunch of different colours by the lovely Michelle. So I've got the Eden Green here. Might use that one because that looks really pretty, doesn't it? And then let's just see what other ones I've got here. I may go for just that navy blue, or I have got mustard. Right, let's just keep those there for a minute and then we can decide what we're going to be using. So, right, I love the green, absolutely love the green. So, yeah, let's put that one down now. Like I say, I'm struggling to find a block. I normally have my little, oh, here we go. Here we go. Yeah, I normally do have this little one laying around somewhere. I mean, this is probably like the cleanest one I've got, which I should just be ashamed of myself, shouldn't I, to be honest, if that's the cleanest one I've got. Right, let's just stamp that off and check. So, yeah, I absolutely love it. So I'm just going to stamp this like that. Maybe, yeah, maybe one or two places. Like that. Okay, let me just check with my rows down. Oh, my goodness, how lovely is that? Do we want to have one going off at the corner? So yeah, let's just have one. Not sure now. Or perhaps there actually. Yeah, something like that. Oh my goodness, that's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So let me just stamp this off to get rid of some of that ink. Now, I'm not sure what that mustard colour would look like on this blue. But even if it kind of discolours a bit and goes more like a blue-green, this is very kind of mustardy green, if you see what I mean. Well, mustardy yellow, perhaps I should say. So I think it would still kind of work okay. Just, I mean, isn't that lovely? Oh, gorgeous. Right, so let's just take this one. Right, okay. So, I mean, it is, yeah, it is kind of showing up more in its true colour, really, which I was quite surprised, to be honest. I thought it would look a bit more, you know, of a sort of mishmash colour, but actually it's held its own pretty well, I think. So, yeah, let's do that. Okay, let's pop that on there. Oh, that's gorgeous, isn't it? Absolutely love it. Yeah. Right, I haven't decided with the butterfly yet, so I might just hold fire on that because, yeah, I haven't quite decided. So let's do these couple. Like I say, I mean, to be honest, by the time I've done these, there might not even be time to actually do that. So I'm going to ink around my, you know, my kiss cutting. Okie dokie. So yeah, yeah, I mean, how are you guys with paints? Do you like using paints? You know, kind of, I mean, I'm much more of a kind of glue and stick kind of girl. You know, in that, yes, I kind of prefer the whole, you know, just cutting, well, not even cutting, to be perfectly honest, tearing paper and gluing it down. As my daughter would say, oh, Mum, that's not art, that is just gluing paper down. She's probably right. But yeah, I'm much more of a kind of, you know, gluing and sticking, much less comfortable with using mediums like paint. But, you know, I do like playing around with it. I'm just probably not very familiar with it, and so, you know, feel quite limited in, you know, what I can do with it. But, you know, a lot of that is probably just a bit more practice is required. You know, I mean, I saw a wonderful video the other day. It was Tara from Tara's Take, and she did a brilliant video on using her gel plate. And actually, I have to say, it was probably the best gel plate video I've ever seen. Now, I will definitely forget to link this, I'm sure, because, you know, by the time that I come to upload this, the whole gel plate with what we're doing here will not even be in my brain. But definitely brilliant video. And I keep thinking I'm going to do a video, you know, with my gel plate, kind of like inspired by her. So, you know, if I don't remember to link her, which I'm pretty confident I won't, please don't worry, because I have got it on my list of, you know, things that I'm planning on doing soonish. Although, who knows, could be months away yet, but yeah. But, I mean, you could probably find it, to be honest, if you just search Tara's Take and gel plate, it will probably come up, you know, but definitely was a brilliant video. Yeah, loved it, absolutely loved it. Now, I have to say, for me, that just looks very, very lovely, you know, exactly as it is. I don't feel like that kind of needs anything much, you know, else, to be honest. And we're going to obviously add the shading and things, because we're doing this in a sort of, I mean, I'm not saying mixed media really, because there's probably not enough going on here, I suppose. Well, I mean, I guess it is mixed media, but, you know, my lame attempt at mixed media. But, oops. Oh gosh, come on. Yeah, I'm going to be doing the shading and things like that. So to be honest, although there looks like there's a lot of blank space around on here, I think actually by the time we finish this, it will actually look okay. Plus, to be honest, once we've glued all this down, we may well put some other things on there anyway. So, you know, but as our starting point, I think this looks, you know, pretty nice just on there as it is. So pop that down. Now I'm just using my Anita's tacky glue to do this, and I should have said I had glued 2 book pages together as my base for these. So we're going to paint the backs or cover them with just some plain paper so that they would be journal cards. But like I say, I did stick 2 book pages together only because, you know, I'm a pretty clumsy person, and so to be honest, 1 book page, that would just be way too flimsy for me. You know, but you guys might get on okay with just 1, but I like them a little bit thicker than that. So I'm just going to take my corner rounder. This is pretty soggy, so it's quite easy to you know, kind of bend at the moment, but yeah. Right, loving that label on top of the flower, and ordinarily I would, you know, probably feel inclined to put the label kind of like behind the flower, coming out somewhere, but it looks gorgeous on top, I think. And that's just from my labels, I think it's label set 2, you know, Digi in my Etsy, and yeah, doesn't that look gorgeous on there? So I've now got my black watercolour pencil. Now, oh my goodness, I hope I'm not going to muck it up, because I'm not great with my shading, but this is another thing that, you know, I'm really wanting to kind of like improve these kinds of you know, techniques and things. So you know, the only way you're going to improve is by kind of playing around and doing it, isn't it? So yeah, you know, not saying my techniques are great or anything like that, but definitely, you know, if you're wanting to kind of like get better at something, you've got to do it, haven't you? You've got to, you know, you've got to practice. So maybe have a little bit down here as well. Maybe just go down that side a bit. Maybe in here. Like that. Okay. So probably want to steer, you know, steer clear from this side if I'm truthful. Because otherwise, you know, I'm going to have like shading going on all over the place, which is a bit weird. Yeah, right, okay, going to just put some water down to dip my watercolour in, my brush, sorry, for the watercolour. So, yeah, just want to kind of like start dragging this out a bit. Okay. Like that. Okay, and just a little bit here. Okay, and then just down this side as well. Okay. So yeah, what I might do now is I'm just going to take a wet wipe and, you know, dab off where I've made a bit of a rubbish job in some of these places. And to be honest, let me just wet my brush, pencil, and kind of go in again, like that. You know, hopefully getting it a little bit kind of stronger in one or two of these places. Okay. Like that. Okie dokie. What do we think to that? I feel I have not done a very good job, to be honest. Yep, not loving it. Oh well. Let's just put a bit more down here. Okay. Like that. Okay, now unfortunately I kind of look at this and I think, well, I probably shouldn't have had shade in there actually. That might be why I'm feeling this a bit weird, because I've now got shade in on this side where I probably shouldn't have had it, should I? Because I said I wasn't putting it down those angles. Okay, so yeah, just kind of like, you know, put extra here, I think. Hopefully, yeah, sort that out a bit. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've mucked that up a little bit because, like I say, I've kind of, I think, you know, put the shading on the wrong side there, which of course looks then a little bit strange because it shouldn't have had it. But anyway, I don't mind. I'm going to just, you know, go for it anyway. Now, I'm thinking around the edge. Do we want to ink this up with like distress ink to kind of darken this a little bit? And then maybe like have some sort of border going on. So I'm just going to take my distress ink and just ink around here. Oh my goodness. I mean, doesn't that look lovely? Straight away, it just looks gorgeous, doesn't it? Oops, that's not quite stuck down. I mean, it's quite soggy, unfortunately, because I mean, obviously I've got a lot of, you know, glue, paint and everything else going on here. So it could have done with, you know, a little bit of sort of sitting resting time if I'm truthful, but I don't mind. It looks okay. Now, I also have brought along this is my Winsor Newton ink. And again, I've seen Marta use this lots of times. So I treated myself to some of this. Actually, I don't think it was that expensive. I think I got it from Amazon, but I may have got it from Hobbycraft. It's a while since I bought it, so I can't really remember, I'm afraid. But this is what she uses to do her, you know, her white splatters. Oh my goodness, look at what I've done here. Oh dear. Right, well, get ready for some massive splatters, because of course I've saturated my brush now. Okay. Oh my goodness! How gorgeous does that look? I mean, in an ideal world, I wouldn't have that big, huge splat on that red at the top. But I think aside from that, I really, really love how that looks. So just a gorgeous, yummy journal card, which of course, you know, now you could just paint the back of it to journal on, or obviously you could cover the back of it with some, you know, some plain paper so you could journal on that. But isn't that gorgeous? So let's do this one now. Let's hope that we can, you know, recreate and kind of do something equally scrummy on this. So going to just glue this rose down. So, and just like the other one, I'm just using my normal, you know, regular Anita's tacky glue to get this glued down. Okay. So sorry, I've got like a terrible frog in my throat today. So, you know, really apologise for the fact I constantly have to keep clearing my throat like that. But yeah, it's I don't know why it's like it, but it's very annoying. There we go. Right, get that glue out of the way for a bit. Loving how that looks. That is super yummy, isn't it? Now, do we want to have like a label or anything like that? Oh, got a blue one. Just because I kind of think, oh, well, we might want to have, you know, some blue on there. So, yeah, let's take that. Okay. Right, okay. Put my glasses on to cut this down. Okie dokie. You've just got to love a label, haven't you? I mean, they're just like yummy. They always just look great. Now, where does it look great? That's the question. I mean, I loved that other one on top of the flower. I'm not sure whether it's showing up enough on there, is my only kind of reservation with putting it there. Now that's going to be smack banging in amongst all that shading that we're going to do in a minute. You know, because we're doing arty ones, aren't we, today? Arty pieces. Just going to put it on the flower, to be honest. Yeah, because I don't want to have to now factor in shading around the label, because, you know, I'm struggling enough. Don't want to now have another thing to be trying to factor in. So, yeah, let's just put the label on there. Okay, right. Now, my shading. Let's try and focus a bit better. Do it a bit better than we did in the last one. Right, okay. So, if I'm doing it around there, I don't want to do it around there. So, yes, I must remember that this time. So, shading here, like that. So, I mean, we're just kind of playing with shading, really. You know, making some yeah, arty painted journal cards, but you know, particularly the emphasis is on kind of playing with some shading and things like that using watercolor pencil, and just kind of experimenting how, you know, how it looks and things like that. So yeah, I mean, it definitely does kind of add something to it, doesn't it? I mean, if I should have brought the other one in and kind of compared it. Obviously, I've now done this weird drawing around this. So just pretend this weird drawing stuff's not going on here. But just going to pull the other one back in. Probably have a little bit here actually too. Just going to pull the other one back in and just show you. You know, the shading does kind of give it depth, doesn't it? You know, as opposed to just being the flower plonked on there. So, you know, even though I've not made a brilliant job of the shading, you know, you can see that it does, you know, it does kind of add something, doesn't it? And, you know, just gives it some sort of depth, I think, that it didn't, you know, didn't have or wouldn't have otherwise. So, okay, that one, bit here. This little bit here. Okay, and then just this little bit here. And then, you know, we'll check this out in a moment and just see how it's looking. At the moment, just kind of focusing on getting the shading down, but okay. Yeah, maybe like that. What do we think? Just doing a little bit more there. Okay, right. Loving how that looks. Very, very, very pretty. Right. Yeah. Do we want to mop any up? Maybe just this little bit here kind of went a bit wonky and weird, but aside from that, I'm sort of quite happy with it. So that was just a wet wipe. You know, which is sometimes helpful to kind of like, you know, just mop up mistakes. I might just try and kind of like put it in here a bit, drag that out. That really worked. Anyway, right, so we're now going to go round with our Distress ink. Oh, I didn't round the corners, so yeah, let's round the corners. Again, not essential, but I did really like how they looked on the last one. So, oh, gorgeous. And I'm loving just rounding the corners on one side recently. And I say recently, I mean, it's probably been over a year now that I've been kind of favouring that. But, and you know, not always, but yeah, just quite often. So, you know, it was probably something I never really did before, but for some reason over the last year or so, I just, yeah, I like how that looks when you just kind of do the one, you know, the one side. Or maybe like top or bottom, you know, that kind of thing. So it's not all four corners are rounded. Right, loving how that looks. Now, do we want to go around the edge with anything else? Like the actual, you know, proper edge, if you see what I mean. So maybe I will just really kind of like, you know, go in strong like this with the ink pad. Just so as I get a very definite edge to this. Now, I like that, you know, torn sort of straggly edge there where I've torn it from the book. Again, I'm not saying that's everybody's cup of tea, but I actually really like that look. So I'm going to just, yeah, leave that, I think, like that. Right, let's get our ink here. Now, I think I'm going to have to cover up the rose a bit because I did kind of mess that up just now and I didn't really want to, you know, have that big splotch on the rose. So just taking a little bit of kind of scrap here. Okay. So, yeah. I mean, I'm just covering up like the actual rose itself. I don't mind the splotches on the leaves or anything, but I don't really want them on the actual flower, the flower head. So there we go. Right, let's remove our little kind of like cover-ups and see what that looks like. Okay, right, let's just, oh, got to be careful here. Right, let's just pop that there. Just quickly mop this off. Right, only because, you know, I'm trying not to obviously get it now dipped into everything else. So let me put that down, ready to take with me when I leave the room for washing. Okay, right, let's move these couple of bits. Oh my goodness, how pretty does that look? So let me just mop up the desk. Okay, let's just dry it up. We didn't get round to the butterfly one at all, did we? So perhaps we can still come back and do that another time. But you know, maybe maybe a couple of weeks down the line or something like that. Okay. Get rid of everything. So we have got that one, the yellow one, which, how gorgeous does that look? And then we've got this one, the red one. Oh, love them both, to be honest. I mean, weirdly, I never ever go for yellow, but strangely I do actually feel quite drawn to the yellow one. I mean, push comes to shove, I probably still would favour the green and red, but yeah, I do actually really feel very, very, you know, drawn to this blue one. I've just got this yellow trim. I mean, I just never know when to stop if I'm truthful, but yeah, just kind of like thinking, oh, should we have a bit of yellow trim somewhere? Oh, maybe not. Right, yeah, maybe not. So this is just that floral trim, which I have this in my shop on my Shabbydabbydoodah website. Just going to try this red. Again, I was thinking definitely no, but now I've put it there, I'm like, oh, it is really nice. No, I'm not going to add it because I want to keep them quite flat this time. We did add the trim, I think, on the last one. But this time I want to kind of keep them flatter. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave them. But yeah, let me know below, which one do you like best? Are you preferring the yellow and blue, or do you like the red and the green? Like I say, I mean, I am strangely very drawn to that blue and yellow today. But, you know, push comes to shove, I still would probably favour the red and the green. But yeah, let me know which one you like best. So yeah, hope that you like these journal cards. Hope you think that they're kind of a little bit different, obviously, to the ones we did last time with the paint effects. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks then. Bye.